I didn't even mean to press play right now, but we here now. What up, y'all? It's your man, yes, the Hermit Star, back again with another general read for the sign of Virgo. What's happening, my brothers and sisters under Mercury? If you got Virgo on your chart, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is for you. The reason why I wanted to better situate my cards, but we here now. You know what I'm saying? We here. First of all, Happy New Year to my brothers and sisters once again. Hopefully your year is going out very swell so far. Let's see what message we have for us. I did a personal read for myself yesterday, and that was a read that definitely, was enlightening to say the very least. So hopefully this is one as well. In fact, I know it's going to be one. You might have Sagittarius in your chart though. I might be speaking to a Virgo with some Sagittarius placements because two of the cards that they got, you just got right now. We'll see if there's any other cards that come up. But yeah, you might have Sagittarius in your chart, close Sagittarius placements. Go watch that Sagittarius reading that I uploaded yesterday at this point, okay? Anyways, we start off with the Seven of Cups in reverse, just like I was saying with the Sagittarius folks. This is a card of distractions as well. You can be too caught up. Someone in this energy could be too caught up in their wishful thoughts, what they desires, their dreams in general. It's always good to think about these things. I would never tell, especially my Virgos out there, but I'll never tell anyone not to dream, But at the same time, if we really want these things to happen, whatever goals, dreams that we have, if we really want these things to happen, we're going to have to put in that work. Seems like the message that's happening for, again, Sagittarius just got that read, and now it seems as though work needed to be done. Might be a message that I'm seeing here. Another reason why I'm saying that for Virgo is because we have the Magician in reverse, excuse me. This is the other card that Sagittarius got. Wasted potential as well. It's also the card of manipulation. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think, again, this is a Virgo wasting their potential, watching everybody else achieve the things that they want to achieve. That happens, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm guilty of that. But even times like this, when we are receiving a read like this, we need to understand that we too can achieve those things, but we don't achieve those things by sitting around and just wishing for it. We achieve those things by getting up and doing that work, Now, of course, there are going to be times where we're tired. There's going to be times where we need to rest when we are called to rest. I'm not saying don't rest when you are called to do so. In fact, we have the Two of Pentacles here, and this is a good balancing act of, balancing, between work and play, prioritizing things as in what's important, what can be put on a back burner, or what's not as important, what you just need to spend more time doing and focusing on, rather than other things where you can probably spend less time focusing on as well. So that's great to see here. With that, I kind of want to see more, see if we can get more cards with the tarot, because oh boy, a bunch of them fell. Of course they did. Of course they did. You know what? I'm going to have to try to make room here somehow. Fuck it. I'm laying these cards down. I'm laying them down. Fuck it. We here now. We make it room. Dang, there's a lot of cards. And I'll put this one here. I got some cards on the windowsill. That's how much that fell, right? Could have asked Spirit to say it in less messages, but we here now. Anyways, we have the King of Wands. Now, the Queen of Wands isn't present here, but that's our energy. But this is good to still see, someone who is very much a visionary, someone who faces its challenges as well. Again, before that, we have that Two of Pentacles that showed up. So be very much mindful of prioritizing what matters, and what doesn't matter can either, again, be spend less time on, or whatever the case is. But use your best judgment at the end of the day, really, on what that is, what those things are. Essentially, it's going to look different for many Virgos out there. What I would prioritize is not the same as what you would prioritize, simply because we're both Virgos. We might be both sun sign Virgos, like I am, right? You might be a sun Virgo like me. That doesn't necessarily mean our priorities are the same. You know, we lead totally different lives. We got totally different responsibilities. We might have similarities in these fields, of course, but even within that, you might have responsibilities that I don't have. I don't have kids. You might have kids. Therefore, that's clearly a responsibility that you have that I don't have. All right? I might have some other things that I have to tend to that you don't. So, focusing on what matters, along with achieving what you want to achieve, of course, is always the best practice. After that, though, we do have the Four Swords in reverse that does show up. Like I was saying earlier, like, it's important that if you do need to take the time to rest, because this is burnout. And us knowing us, or at least me knowing me, I know that we can get to a place to where whenever we have all these things that we desire, we can go too hard in trying to achieve these things, especially if we're harshly critiquing ourselves, as we tend to do. You know, I've said this before, and I'll continue saying this. A lot of people don't like Virgos because they think that we're just harsh critics to everybody else. If y'all understood the things that we said to ourselves, you would be like, that's nothing compared to what they said about this other person. You know what I'm saying? Because we could be very much harsh on ourselves. And I know when I'm harsh on me, right? I was just journaling about this morning too, where I felt like I was giving myself props for speaking kinder to myself based off of some, mistakes that I made. These weren't like huge mistakes or whatever, but like just some like mistakes that I've made earlier on within the day. And whether it was a big mistake or whatever, something that I probably made bigger than it really was, I used to, the default reaction was always curse myself out. But I didn't do that during those times, during those moments. I, again, spoke kinder to myself. And, I say all that just to say the reason why I bring that up is because, one, just to share some stuff about me, but two, when I was in moments to where I wasn't speaking kinder to myself, not only was the response was to, again, curse myself out, but it was to overwork myself. And then burnout happened. And then I'll curse myself. It was like a constant cycle of me really just hating myself and punishing myself for being human and just messing up, or, cursing myself out for burnout. But then you burnt yourself out because you were punishing yourself for the mistake. And it's like, now you being like, whole lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? I've told you, I ain't perfect. I got trauma I got to deal with as well. Not to blame, how I grew up, or all of the trauma based off of how I grew up, because I'm a grown ass man now, damn near 40. So it's up to me to, it's up to all of us to, at some point in time, to stop using that as an excuse to not make the positive changes. I'm not saying that it's a good thing that we were raised in toxic households, or we had a parent who was very much, either judgmental or very much harsh. I'm not saying that these things are cool, but at the same time, especially if that parent is no longer around, or you're not even in their household anymore, you have the responsibility to make sure that whatever traumas that they passed on to you, you don't pass on to your children, or just pass on to anyone else, or you don't take out on anybody else. for that matter. You don't continue having that trauma for yourself, right? There is no excuses now. You're no longer in that household. That person is no longer alive, right? Not saying good riddance. I'm just saying they're no longer here or in your presence, whether physically, spiritually, or both. They're no longer in your presence, right? Or physical presence, let me put it that way. So it's up to you to get over that stuff. So I say all that just to say, yeah, how punishment or how burn up have shown up for me in the past is when I was overworking myself. So you might be in a situation where you feel as though part of trying to achieve what you desire, once again, with that Seven of Cups, it did show up in reverse, but again, this is wishful thinking, right? Part of how you want to achieve these things is you burning yourself out. And take it from me, it doesn't work. You set yourself back plenty. All right, the next card after is we have the Lovers in reverse right now. I should cover it up, huh? Anyways, I am not gonna edit that. Fuck you, YouTube. Anyways, we have the Lovers in reverse, and it could, I kind of want to clarify it could be a situation to where maybe the burnout, if you allow yourself to be burnt out, it's going to cause problems within your relationship. I want to clarify because it's like I get the vibe that the Virgos that I'm watching right now are single. I know I am. So when I asked for clarification of the Lovers, I got the Tower in reverse. Something needs to end as far as a relationship goes. I'm sorry. That's what the message is. I'm only reading the cards, all right? You do what you want to do at the end of the day, as I always say, right? Or I want to always say, right? That energy is always a part of my reads, whether I say it or not, by the way. So yeah, I always say it. Just not always out loud. But you do what you want to do at the end of the day, but something needs to end that you're not allowing to end. That's what the Tower in reverse is. Something that really drastically needs to end that you're not allowing to end. Maybe it's, with that Lovers in reverse, it could be the negative self-talk. Maybe you need to have more love for yourself. Now, the Lovers typically involves another energy. It's not always self-love, or it's not the card that is representative of self-love in the tarot. That doesn't mean that it isn't. And love, whether it's self-love or love of another partner or love from someone else, it's still present. So I don't want to do away with the self-love aspect of, what I'm about to say here. But I also get the sense that, going based off my understanding of the Lovers card, once again, it involves another love or another person, let's just say, because it could be some toxic type love where they are saying, or you all are telling each other you love each other, but really it's something that needs that isn't necessarily loved. You're not being loved appropriately even. It could be a situation to where if you are with a partner and what needs to end, that you're either you are refusing to change or they're refusing to change. Because this Tower in this situation could really represent either you or them in regards to this lover situation, where you either need to admit that the type of love that you're having, the relationship, it's a couple things. Number one, the relationship just needs to end. So it's not even just how you're being loved, it's just the relationship needs to end. You need to admit that. You need to admit that. Both of y'all probably need to admit that. One or both of y'all need to admit that. That's number one. Number two, all right? Maybe it's the way that they're loving you, or they feel as though they're loving you, right? Me being a Virgo and me knowing other Virgos, we are very much independent spirits. Now, that's not to say that we oppose relationships. We don't oppose relationships, but we do like to have our independence within our relationships. We do like to express ourselves. We or at least me, I won't speak for all Virgos, but I don't like a partner who's always constantly up under me. I like moments to where I can just, take the time out for myself to play video games, and I don't want a partner that's constantly blowing up my phone and wanting to FaceTime while I'm playing a fucking video game. There are moments where I want to just go outside and go for a walk. And I don't want to hear nothing but either the music that's in my ear or just the sounds of the city, or if I'm walking somewhere where that's out of the city in the woods or whatever, I just want to hear the sounds of my surroundings. I don't want to talk to nobody. I want that alone time. And I've dealt with partners who really didn't understand that. They didn't understand, or they took that as me not wanting them, when it's like that wasn't the case. It's not that I don't want you. I just have moments where I want my fucking alone time. And then they would take it as, well, you did have your alone time. Yeah, when I was at work, along with some 50 other annoying motherfuckers. Like, is that alone time to you? You really think that was alone time? On my way to work, for work, or when I was on the damn train or bus from work, that's alone time to you? Maybe to you, but not to me, and probably not to other Virgos. We need something. When we want alone time, we want to be fed into, not doing things that we're obligated to do that don't feed into us. I can tell you right now, riding public transportation alone, surrounded by other people, is not feeding into me when I want my alone time. So I say all that, just I'm going on a tangent. Virgo, y'all know what it is. gotta give us everything, right? Plus we got all these damn cards, so it might as well. But I say all that just to say, maybe it's a situation again with this Lover's card in reverse, that we're not being loved, or somebody isn't being loved the way that they want to be loved, even within a relationship. And either a partner of that Virgo, or you yourself, you're not, for whatever reason, you're not admitting that you're not being loved correctly. Maybe it's because you feel as though vocalizing that is going to upset your partner. Maybe you feel as though that you're being too picky if you say, listen, this is not how you love me, right? Like I said, it could be that, or it could be just this relationship in general needs to end, period. Nonetheless, I can tell you from experience, if you have a partner who gets upset when you say, this is how I want to be loved, and they don't want to do that, that is not the partner for you. At the end of the day, you're going to do what you want to do. As I stated again, you do what you want to do. But I wouldn't stay with a person like that who gets upset when I say, this is not how I want to be loved, right? I'm not the type that constantly needs my partner's attention 24 freaking 7. I don't need you to text, call, and FaceTime me every single second of the day. I don't need you recording moments of when I am on my break at work so you can call me. Maybe I just want to sit in the locker room in peace and quiet for these 15 minutes. Because it's the only fucking peace and quiet that I have all damn day. And I don't need you or anybody else disturbing that. So it's like, if you can't respect that, whoa, y'all gonna get me, y'all gonna get me going off over here. Let's let's get to the rest of these cards now before I end up punching a window. Anyway, we got the Two of Wands here showing up. This is someone who takes risk, someone who has the foresight as well to understand that they have the world in their hands. And I mean, you can see that literally with this gentleman here, but I think a big message, especially for us Virgos, or at least for me, again, is that there needs to be risk. That if you want your year to be different from 2025 or previous years, there are going to be things that you have to do differently than you've done in previous years. Going back to this whole relationship, because I feel like we ended up getting two messages in one. Talking about this relationship thing, right? You're gonna have to do something differently than you probably haven't done in the past, and that could simply just means speaking up for yourself when you're in a relationship, instead of constantly meeting partners who, and sometimes it could be a situation where they're doing something not out of malice, not because they are ignorant to your or they are refusing to make the changes so they can be a better partner to you. It could be they thought this is what you wanted because you never spoke up about it and say, no, actually, I don't like this. I don't like being blown up 24/7. And again, that's an example. That's an example I'm using because that's an example that's real life for me. You might not identify with that. Whatever that issue is that you can identify with, if it's applicable for you, that's what. Take my example out of the equation and plug in your example, and this message is still going to apply. If you are not being vocal about opening up about that issue, you're going to continue running into the same issue you ran into in regards to this relationship again last year or previous years. So taking a risk in general and speaking up, and that's what I mean by taking a risk. It's really doing something different. That's what I mean. Essentially doing something different. It doesn't have to be grand. It don't mean taking a big risk like moving to a different country on the whim, if that's not something you are ready to do right now. It simply just means making a change. This change could be speaking up when you want to speak up, but instead of holding yourself back and biting your tongue because you're afraid of how other people are perceiving you. It could be whatever change is, really whatever change means for you, or how it's going to look like for you. How it looks like is the opposite of what you've been doing, if that is needed. All right, we'll continue. We have the Hierophant in reverse, my favorite card in the entire tarot deck. I know it's not the Virgo card, but it's still my favorite card in the entire tarot deck because your boy is a stubborn mule. But I don't call it that. I think I'm very much, I have my way of doing things, and I like things to be done that way. And if I want to open my mind up, as the Hierophant in reverse is, if I want to open my mind up for brand new, for revolutionary thoughts and actions and things of that nature, then again, that is a decision that I want to make. That's why I love this card so much, right? I want to be the one to make that decision, not any other thing making that decision. Yeah, there are going to be other people, other circumstances that may influence my decision, but at the end of the day, I don't want it to be a situation to where it was made for me. Nah, I was the one who made this decision. But nonetheless, I keep talking about myself here. Maybe this is meant for me, even though I said this might be a Sagittarius read. I forget which house Sagittarius is in. It's not it's not like my moon or ascendant sign, right? It's in one of my houses that I forget. But nonetheless, whether you have Sagittarius in your chart or not, Virgo, when I say pretty much be open-minded or be open to new, again, going with the aspect of change, right? With that Two of Wands, it's taking risk, really. The Hierophant in reverse is someone who can look at a new way of doing things and say, how can I do something new, but it's still me. It's still pretty much something that is calling to me. How can I shape things, especially when you have that Two of Pentacles here? How can I pretty much manage things so it's still something that is different from what I've done in the past, but it's still me? It's familiar enough to where I'm not feeling like I am totally just being someone that I'm not, but it's new enough for me to say that it's not something that I've just settled on in the past, right? That's what I get with that. We do have three more cards here. So let's get to it. We have the Queen, and this is just the tarot, by the way. We have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Someone who is self-centered as well. Someone who moves in a scarcity mindset too. This is something I'm very much guilty of. The scarcity mindset, not self-centered. I think that honestly, we need to be a lot more, to be honest with you, but I'm going to say a little more to be PC. We need to be a lot more or a little more self-centered this year. I feel as though last year, a lot of the issues that Virgos faced, and now we are the sign of service, so we're always going to be of service to people. What I'm doing here is of service to you all. I would have quit a long time ago if, I knew that no one was going to watch these damn videos. But I've had to tell myself numerous times, especially last year, these videos aren't for you. You do your reads when you do your reads, and you get your messages when you get your messages, right? These videos aren't for you. They're for somebody, and somebody needs them. So you need to get your ego out the way in regards to the views and shit, and put it out there, because somebody needs this message. Now, if they don't take heed to it, that's not on you. But somebody needs this message. So you need to go out and give the message, right? And that could be the same. That could be relative for you as well. But I do believe we do need to be a lot more self-centered in the way of, instead of, and when I say a lot more self-centered, I go back to this Lover's message here, right? I'm going to use the Tower to block the Lover's card, right? I go back to this message to where we probably was focusing too much on what's going to make our partner happy rather than our own happiness as well within our relationship. Some of us who are in relationships last year or are in a relationship now, I wasn't. So in this aspect, I can't tell you what I personally have done recently, or at least I can give you advice, especially if you would like a personal read. I can give you advice on how I handled it in the past. But as far as just like where I'm thinking we need a lot more self-centered energy here, that Queen of Pentacles in reverse energy here, is when it comes to our love life. I'm not saying don't go from being someone who totally put your feelings on the back burner and now is the abusive dominator partner where you don't give a damn about your partner's wants and needs. Now you only care about yours. I'm saying you go from 0 to 5 on a scale of 10. If you were at a 5, bump it up to a 10, and then bump that 10 up to a 15 or even a 20 or so. Nonetheless, make it so that you have enough in the tank to care for yourself, but also care for your partner's wants and needs in general. And part of doing that is being self-centered to a point where it's like, I am going to speak up. Once again, I am going to speak up when I disagree with something. I am going to speak up when it's like I want my alone time or whatever the example it is for you. I am going to vocalize these things. You're not going to gaslight me into thinking I'm a terrible partner for wanting these things. You're not going to gaslight me into making me feel like I'm a terrible partner because, it's not what in your plan. That's not what you plan for us to do for the day, or you plan for us to do for this very moment in time, because you was bored and you wanted to text me, and I don't want to. I'm doing something else right now, and I don't want to drop everything to do what you want to do, for 6 hours of the day. So it's like, yeah, speaking up and being self-centered in that aspect, I think is a healthy thing. I'm not going to tell you to shy away from that, right? This is why I don't shy away from reversals as well, because I think we can also learn from reversal energies within the tarot deck as well. Where I would like for myself, and maybe other Virgos out there, maybe you feel the same about yourself as well, to improve upon when it comes to this type of energy is being someone of a scarcity mindset, especially when it comes to your money. I know things are very much uncertain right now. So, penny pinching isn't a bad thing to do at this moment in time right now. But I think where, you know, especially with me, a lot of the pitfalls that may have happened financially as of recently had to do with just the negative energy you were putting out there in regards to your financial situation. And instead of, you know, asset prioritizing things, prioritizing these things better, essentially budgeting and doing all this stuff with it, you decided to hoard money, and in that way it kind of did cause some other maybe it's a situation to where, you know, you've starved yourself. I'm using this as an example yet again. You are, well, not yet again, but just again, I'm using an example. Take it as it resonates. But maybe it's a situation where you starved yourself. You didn't eat. You didn't go shopping for food, right? Because you were afraid of running out of money. It was either I either have this money but no food, or have food but no money. Rather than just, how about let's reshape this thing. Let's focus on ways on we can make money. Again, I'm gonna pick up that Two of Pentacles here. Let's focus on ways on how we can make money. That's number one. So we're not, you know, in a predicament to where we are trying to decide between starving or saving. Let's focus on that. How about the money that we have now? Surely there are some things we can buy. It might not be the healthiest, right? It might not be the most expensive. It might not be what we really are craving. You know, there are options, even cheaper options for you to even get, let's just say, healthier options of food without breaking the bank. There's this app that I use, right? And this is in no way, shape, or form me. They're not paying me to promote them, but it's called Too Good To Go. I'm only bringing them up. I'm making it clear right now. I'm only bringing them up because it's very much fitting to the example that I gave. It has zero to do with me. I'm not getting paid for them. If you want to sign up for them, then I will leave it in the comment section below. Then I will leave you an affiliate link. But I already gave you the name, so even if you don't sign up through an affiliate link, you can always just download it on your app store, whatever device you have. But it's called Too Good To Go. Nonetheless, I bring them up because it's a place where you can go, and pretty much restaurants, even grocery stores, will have food that they don't want to waste, right? They will post, you know, you can get a bag, literally a bag full of some food or whatever. Or even go to a restaurant, get a box of pizza or whatever that they don't want to waste. And instead of throwing that out, you can go, and for like a fraction of the price that you would pay, at least if you were to actually shop at these places, you can get that food, right? Once again, it's called Too Good To Go. If you are interested in that, leave a comment. I'll leave the affiliate link, or you can go look on your respected app store. They are not sponsoring this video. Nobody sponsors this video but me. I just bring that up because that's an example of you using cheaper options. There's like a farmer's market that I use on the app, that a lot of the stuff that I get, I only end up paying $4.99. Okay, a $4.99 for a bag of nice produce, right? $4.99. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always going to be the freshest stuff. You get this. Sometimes if you have a relationship with the people, they'll allow you to choose what you want. But, you know, so you can look out for, you know, freshness and all this other stuff. Some stuff you're going to have to eat that day. But, well, that very moment you bought it. But at the same time, there are cheaper options to get what you need, is what I'm saying. So instead of being cheap with the money and sacrificing your health in ways, again, being too scarcity minded, I'm too afraid to spend this because if I spend it, then I won't have it when I really need it. You really need to eat. You really need whatever you need right now that money is going to take care of. So spend that money. Find cheaper ways to take care of the other business as well. Find ways again to make this money. You know what I'm saying? Quite the read for y'all, but we got two more cards here. We have the High Priestess who has showed up here. Ultimately, I think this is the ultimate Virgo read. I know this isn't necessarily like... I actually forgot what sign the High Priestess is. But I'm saying, like, as far as just using your intuition, right? Because we're very much grand and very much, that's us. Very intuitive. If not the most intuitive sign. You can call that a bias. I don't give a shit. Well, you're not going to call it a bias. You're a Virgo. But cross-watching might call it a bias. But respectfully, go F yourself. Anyways, in all seriousness, just using your intuition, it will be a great, being very much spiritual minded as well. I think that's another message. That's a message that I've been seeing a lot, that I've been getting a lot as a Virgo, is we really, this year especially, we really need to focus on our spiritual practices. The High Priestess does that. Very much someone who is in tune with their spiritual practices, spirituality in general. I think we can be too much, and I'm speaking about me as well, again, in this situation here, but we'll be too much in the reality, too much in the mundane, too much in the physical, we'll put it that way, to where we tend to forget or even deny the existence of spiritual powers that it, is, a part of ourselves, a part of our lives, has a lot to do with our well-being in general. So just be mindful of that. The last tarot card that we got is the Six of Swords here. Moving on, adapting again. A lot of adapting energy here. I'm seeing, even when we have that Magician in reverse. The Magician is a Virgo, by the way, as well. I forgot to mention. I know I said Sagittarius only. I didn't say this was a Sagittarius or the Seven of Cups was a Sagittarius. I said these cards showed up in Sagittarius' reading. It doesn't necessarily mean they are Sagittarius. This is Virgo, right? Magician, someone who makes things happen, create, is someone creative, right? So it did show up in reverse. That Magician showed up in reverse. But again, I'm still seeing a lot of adaptability, a lot of creating the life, of creating the outcomes that we want. A lot of faith. As far as the tarot goes, a lot of faith that we need to have. Again, we have that Two of Wands here. You don't need to necessarily see what is next to understand that brighter days are coming, right? Having faith to take risk, whether it's financial risk in the sense of I'm going to spend this money, although I don't necessarily have a lot of money yet, right? I'm going to be wise with the spending, but I'm not going to do what I need to do to survive. And if that means spending this dollar or finding other alternatives for me to get the things that I need to get, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to do these things without fear and without all this other stuff, without the scarcity mindset, again, that Queen of Pentacles in reverse is. I'm going to do these things, right? So, yeah, like I said, just to wrap up the tarot read, or at least what I get here, I'm seeing a lot of spiritual, being more so spiritual, having faith, not just within ourselves, but our higher power, God, gods, goddesses, spiritual team. Focusing on what we can do, especially seeing the God or goddess in us, how we can create the outcomes we want with it, whether it's in our love life, our personal life, personal goals, whatever the case is. Not being so much in, again, the physical, where it's like it has to be A, B, C, D. It has to be this way, that way, that. If C is looking like this, then D is going to look like this. No, C might look like a certain way. D could be totally different. You know what I'm saying? D cannot look like, D could look like a way and E can look different. So on and so forth. And when I say it could look different, I don't mean that, I mean it could look different because we're in charge of making it look different. We're responsible for that. So that's what I have for the tarot. Hopefully that helped out. We have the oracle here. I kind of want to at least get one more tarot card for whatever reason. I know there's a lot. We already here. I love my brothers and sisters. We gonna do it anyway. Spirit, can you give Virgos at least one more message? Because I feel... And what we got was the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Someone who doesn't realize their ability. Someone who also does things haphazardly as well. And this is not to go toward this. This is to stop being that. At least that's the message I get. Especially with that unrealized ability. Someone who doesn't realize how... Pages are messengers, by the way. I'm still studying tarot as I go. Like I said, I am always going to be a student of this. I've said this in the past before, and I'm going to say it right now. Yeah, I've been doing reads for folks for, it's been 3 years now. Wow. I think maybe about 2-3 years. But nah, I'm always going to be a student to this thing, right? And part of my recent studies was about pages. Who are the pages? Well, the pages are messengers at heart. Whether it's a page of pentacle, a page of whatever, they're messengers at heart. And I think this is for a Virgo out there, even for me. But there's a Virgo out there who has been denying that they are a messenger. That they have something to say. They have something that people can listen to or people should listen to. They have a message that somebody needs to hear. Whether people take them seriously or not, that's not the page's fault, meaning that's not your fault in this situation. In this situation, you're the page. But what is at your fault is how you view yourself. Again, going back to what I was saying about the Lover's card, I'm not saying that the lover in this situation is technically about how you view yourself in a way. I still believe most of that lover's message probably is to do with a partner. But if we are going to talk about the aspect of self-love, the lovers in this situation here represents how you view yourself. And again, that Tower in reverse is you refusing to acknowledge the harsh words that you haven't been loving to yourself as much as you want to believe that you are. And it's showing up as a Page of Pentacles in reverse because someone who truly honors and loves themselves isn't going to view themselves as a nobody who has nothing of importance to say. Despite what the numbers are saying, you're still going to feel as though you have a message, you have a purpose to put out there for the people. So it's like, and by the way, I ain't got no fucking Zoom meetings. That's things, but let me not make this any longer than it need to be. Let me not make it longer than it need to be. I don't know why I picked up the page. I'm done with the card for now. But loving yourself again, as far as I meant to pick up the oracle. That's what I want. Loving yourself. Just to go back to those who might not be in relationships. Self-love starts with you, how you speak to yourself. It's not just in how you show up. You might be thinking you self-love yourself because you take care of yourself physically, and that's great and all to all my fellow Virgos out there that love the physical fitness and working out. But if inside your head and inside your heart, you not speaking kinder to yourself, how you look, you can have all the muscles in the world, you can have the big juicy booty, you can have all of that. The abs and all that, you can have all of that, and you still don't love yourself because it's not what you're saying out of your mouth. It's not how you feel within your body. So just take that message. If you really want that self-love, it starts within. All right. That's for the single and non-single Virgos out there. All right. But we have the Oracle right now. And the Oracle card that we got today is Sculpture of Self. I believe it's the first time I'm getting this. So let's see what it's about. Shape the sculpture of self. Say that 6 times for real. Shape the sculpture of self, honoring the perpetual act of forming and expressing identity. Be your goddamn self. Be yourself. Love yourself. I really do think that this is definitely one of the bigger messages, because we got many. I'm not going front. We got a few messages in this read here. So if you still around, appreciate you. But one of the bigger messages, the overarching messages, I'm gonna say, in this gumbo pot of a tarot read, is self-love. Self-love, self-expressing. You know? Not apologizing for having interests outside of the interests your lover might have. Not apologizing for, not apologize for having interests outside of the interests your lover might have. That's number one. But not punishing yourself for whatever predicament you might find yourself in. Not punishing yourself in ways that is actually hurting you more than it is helping you. Not leaning on, well, I've done this in the past. This is how I've always showed up. This is how I've always been. And this is how things are always going to be. Again, tapping into more so of the Hierophant in reverse energy, where it's like I'm open to change, but obviously I want that change to still fit me, who I am. And that comes with sculpting yourself, figuring out new ways of thinking, being, doing, that you feel is still aligned with you, that doesn't necessarily show up as it once as your old self. And I'm not saying get rid of that, but just, creating your life, creating your situation to be whatever you want it to be, while also not just staying in the same type of relationship, or in the same relationship, in the same type of situations is going to magically make these changes. Same plus same doesn't equal change. That could be the title. I'll think about it. But anyways, I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to love y'all and leave y'all. Same plus same does not equal change. You're going to have to add change into the equation if you want something different, especially if it's something that you've been desiring for some time. Anyways, this has been your tarot read. I want to say mid-month. I might consider this a mid-month read for Virgo, but your general read, whenever you feel this message is fitting for you, this message finds you whenever it finds you. If you got anything of value from this, please hit that like button. Comment if it's relative to you as well. Please share this video out to a fellow Virgo, or any other Virgo out there, or anybody for that matter you feel needs to heed this message. And subscribe if you get something of value. I'm going to definitely want to be more active as I've been. Then I was active last year, obviously, but not super active, and I'm trying to change that. So you might not get content every day, but you might get content every day. Who knows? Alright, I do have a pattern, you know what I'm saying, that I want to implement. I want to go in order from 1 through 12. So yeah, we're sign number 6. So yeah. Anyways, with that being said, thank you for trusting me for being your intuitive reader for today, or at least one of your intuitive readers for today. Like, comment, share, subscribe once again. And until next time, until next read. Y'all take care out there.